Hello guys, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me again, Sweetie, and I'm doing videos regarding sharing my own personal experience of how I became an optometrist in the UK. So as I promised in my previous video, today's video is going to be about what to expect on your stage 3, which is the interview stage. I know many of you have been waiting to know a very good insight of what to expect on your interview stage. So here it is for you. Without any delay, let's just dive into the video for today. Alright, so the invoice we're looking for stage 3 is £200. So once you pay the invoice that has been issued by the college, you will be allocated a date for the interview. So the time frame that they have listed up there is 4 months. So depending upon the availability of you and the assessor, they will book an interview slot for you. Once your interview has been done, it will take up to 14 days for you to get the results back from them. So this is the time frame that has been listed in the college website. And also guidance on the interview is that the first thing is that the interview will be taking place virtually via Microsoft Teams. So make sure that the internet connection is reliable so that your connection is not interrupted during the interview. And also to prepare for the interview, they've just also emphasized there as reread your application form and the supporting documents that you have provided. So you should be prepared to discuss all those that you have provided with the assessor if they ask you. And also, if required, any supporting evidence of any new information that you might discuss during the interview, they might request about it later as well. And if you have any disability within the scope of Equality Act 2010, they will be able to make reasonable adjustments for you during the interview. So just advise your allocated registration officer at the point of your interview being arranged. So if you go through the website, it is there on that, and then you can reread about them as well, okay? Right, so the next thing that we're going to see is what to expect on your stage 3 interview. So I can give you a rough insight of what to expect on your interview stage, but I can't assure you that these will be the questions that you will be asked on, because it will differ from person to person depending upon the clinical experience that each of them have provided in their application, because the interview is all about the assessors comparing the clinical experience that you have submitted against the GOC stage 1 and stage 2 competency standards. So make sure that you read through the stage 1 and stage 2 competencies very well, so that if there's any topics that you lack your knowledge on, just try to get a bit more knowledge about around that area, and try to prepare for the interview as accordingly, corresponding to the clinical experience that you have submitted in your application. So yeah, while doing this video, I was trying to remember the questions that I was asked during my interview stage. Since it's been 2.5 years now, it was hard for me kind of to remember every detail that I was asked on, but then it was all related to whatever clinical experience that I have submitted. Fortunately, one of the girl who spoke to me in Instagram, who saw me through YouTube, she texted about her experience of her interview stage with me. She was really kind enough to share the questions that she was asked during her interview stage. So I have added a little bit more details to it, and I'll go through one by one now. So note it down if you want to. I'm just going to start over and you can follow me through. So for example, if we take the dispensing competency, you'll be asked around the materials of the spectacles. How do you do the fitting? For example, they might ask you about dispensing a child. How do you dispense a varifocal glasses? How do you dispense bifocal glasses? How do you dispense a high myope or high eye probe? For example, how do you take the measurements? What are the measurements that are important to be taken for a child, for a high prescription, and for a varifocal, and so on? And also you will be asked questions regarding blank sizes, so that what blank size to choose for which frame, and what frame style you recommend for a high prescription. So sometimes they might give you some case scenarios, like For example, if a patient is coming with problem in their varifocal, how do you deal with it? How do you find out the problem, and what are the troubleshoots are? So these can be also the questions that can be asked around that area. So optometry in the UK, it's not just about refraction or about the retail. It's more to do with the clinical stuff as well. So you should be knowing your clinical practical skills very well. So make sure that you know to do your 90D lens and your direct ophthalmoscope very well to check the health of your patient. So for example, they might ask you questions like, if a 50-year-old enters into your clinic, what are the tests that you will do? And in terms of fundus examination, they might ask you about different pathologies. For instance, if a diabetic retinopathy patient is coming, what are the fundus findings that you will see in the patient and how you would grade them, like that. And for example, if it's a dilating drops, when do you put the dilation drops, and what are the advice that you give to the patient before instilling the drops in? What are the side effects of the drops, and how long the drops work, and how? So these are something that you can learn about as well. And also, if you're doing a direct ophthalmoscope, how will you instruct the patient before doing it? Where will you ask them to look at? So certain questions around that area. So any of your practical skills that you do in your day-to-day clinic, just learn how you instruct the patient first, and then how you do the test, and then what are the results that will come up and how you interpret them. So just get a good idea around that topics. So even I was asked questions regarding tonometry. So she was also asked questions regarding tonometry. So the gold standard is Goldman tonometry. So read through about how it works and how do you correctly know how to find the readings and how to calibrate the machine and how you instruct the patient before, what are the drops that you use before doing the applanation tonometry, and questions around that. About visual fields, like about perimetry. So how do you interpret a field? They might just give you some fields test and might ask you to check the reliability and what are the field defects. So make sure whenever you see a field plot, just learn where to start it from and how you interpret the whole field test, starting from the beginning to the end. And why do you do a 30-2? Why do you do a 24-2? So learn what are the difference between each of the fields and how to interpret them as well. In terms of low vision, you might be asked more about calculations, like what are the different types of low vision aids, why and how they can be used. Know well about stand magnifiers and magnifiers, which are quite recommended to people. Learn how to calculate what magnification to give to the patient for the particular task that they need as well. So kind of know how to calculate the magnification powers as well. Coming to color vision, what chart you do to do red and green screening. Know about Colner's rule, because that gives you understanding of what pathologies causes what color vision defect. So that's a good thing to read through about it as well. And what tests you do further if the patient fails the ECRR test. Know about the different types of color vision test. Know about City University test as well, which is a standard use test here. In regards to contact lenses, they might just give you some K readings and ask you how do you choose the lenses. So in India, we work the K readings in diopters. So in UK, they work the K readings in millimeters. So make sure that you get yourself familiar with reading the K readings in millimeters. And also RGP lenses, like they will ask you about toric designs, like what are the different types of toric designs, like front toric, back toric, or bitoric. So get yourself familiar with RGP lenses, the materials, the solutions, and everything else. And if it's a soft lenses, toric soft lenses, just get yourself familiar with them as well. And also get yourself familiar with multifocal contact lenses as well. That's around contact lenses. Coming to binocular anomaly, not everyone likes it, but then learn about what are the sudden causes of double vision. Just learn about all palsies, like third nerve palsy, sixth nerve palsy, fourth nerve palsy. Just learn about what are the causes, what are the management, which are emergency, and everything else. and you can learn about other types of diplopia as well, like intermittent diplopia, convergence insufficiency, what are the treatments or what are the exercise that you will advise. Also learn about the binocular anomalies in kids. For example, if it's a child's first eye test and then you find out a huge prescription of like plus, and you're also finding the kid to have an eye-10 and he's having an isometropia, so learn about what you will do, what you will prescribe, what will be your further management, or learn about patching and everything else. And also in terms of incomittent strabismus, learn about what are the conditions that causes incomittent strabismus and how do you manage that as well. So get yourself a good insight around the each of the topics. So as I said before, just go through the stage 1 and stage 2 competencies on the PDF that I will give you in this YouTube description as well. So each topics, develop your insight around them and get a good idea about under each of your topic, comparing it to the clinical experience that you've submitted on your application. Alright, so I hope I have given you a little bit of insight of what to expect in your stage 3 interview, with which I am thinking of concluding this video. So just the word interview itself give anxious and panic attacks for people, but then try to be as calm as possible. Just go through the stage 1 and stage 2 competencies that's there on the website. Just brush up the knowledge that you feel you're kind of lacking on. There will be 2 assessors who will be asking you questions, and the interview will take around like 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes. So prepare your mind for that. Just keep in your mind that they're just gonna ask you questions corresponding to whatever clinical experience you have submitted. So make sure that just go through your application first. So whatever experience that you have listed on your application, just brush up your knowledge around those first before going through any other extended topics. So that will be a bit more helpful for you as well. So try to be as calm as possible during the day of interview and give the best as you can. So I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye for now. Take care.